Zelda. Have any of you played any of these Zelda games? Just curious. We talk about this a good bit here, and I believe a lot of the community has played Zelda, but there are plenty of people in this community that just for whatever reason never really got into the games, never were really Zelda or Nintendo people. Totally get it. Of course, a couple of years ago, Nintendo pops the fuck off with their Mario movie, which it was very successful in the box office, but beyond that, I think it was successful on streaming and digital. I think this movie did serious business for them. My son loves the Mario movie, and he loves like getting Mario stuff now. So this was a very successful endeavor for Hollywood and Nintendo together. And what marked that movie as different was the involvement of Miyamoto. Actual Nintendo people coming over and helping to craft these things. So around the time that that movie came out, we heard that they were doing a live action Legend of Zelda movie. Now, there were some good things, there were some bad things. So apparently the movie had been in quiet development for years. Miyamoto had been working for years getting this thing ready. Unfortunately, it was something that was being produced by Avi Arad, who has sort of a mixed, checkered history of producing movies, has done a lot of good stuff, also fucked up the Sony Spider-Man stuff over and over again, so a lot of question marks there. Well, they also recently delayed the film, but we know they're really cooking. The reason they delayed the movie is because they want it to be really good. Miyamoto's been working on it for years. They've been producing for years. So, just this week, and I think this actually happened on, what was it, yesterday? It was yesterday. They announced the official casting for Link and for Zelda. Okay, this is a super big deal for a lot of people. So, Bo Baraganson as Zelda. I am really not familiar with her at all. And then Benjamin Evan Answorth as Link. I'm not really familiar with him at all either. Now, there's two main things that you can take away from this. Number one, they went after sort of unknowns, relatively unknowns. I think that's great. You know, we talk a lot about Star Wars and other franchises on this channel. Star Wars itself is now going in a different direction than it used to in the past. It got one of the biggest stars in Hollywood to star in their next movie. That would be Ryan Gosling. But before all of that, the whole idea was get unknowns because you actually want the character to shine through. You don't want the actor, their persona, any of that stuff to affect the way the audience feels about the characters. So this is something that's done when you're trying to strike a particular feel, often with fantasy, and that's what Star Wars did. It seems like that's what they're doing with the Zelda film. Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing, pretty young, man. Like, pretty young, meaning this is, and by the way, I don't know if you guys realize this, the plan right now is to make this movie a trilogy. So this is supposed to be a trilogy, so they probably got young, unknown actors that they feel work really well in this thing. And whoever just sent that super chat, try to send them when I'm not in the middle of a segment. I'll try to get back to that one later. If not, you're going to have to remind me. Relatively young, relatively unknown. I think that's great. On top of that, just looking at them, and again, I'm really unfamiliar with these actors, right? But just looking at them, they look right for the role to me. They also give you somewhat of a sense of the aesthetic of the film. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but just seeing Princess Zelda and Link here, I'm getting a little bit of a vibe of what this thing is going to be. And I will also, man, I got a lot of thoughts on this, actually. I think this is better casting than the Harry Potter remake. Okay, we just saw the first look at the new Harry Potter, and I haven't really talked about it a lot because I think it's terrible. Okay, I'm trying not to talk too much about that whole Harry Potter thing because I think it's just terrible. They're making a ton of terrible decisions. The casting here feels literally stronger, and it also feels, I would dare say, this feels similar to the casting of the original Harry Potter. The originals, like Ron, Hermione, Harry, like getting that feeling. Like that's just something, and maybe I'm projecting or whatever, but just looking at these two actors here, that's kind of a vibe I'm getting where they're building something that they think is going to be good for years and years and years to come. Okay. Now, another part of this is they're filming this thing in New Zealand. Okay. So they're going for, you can start to kind of pull the pieces together here and see what they're cooking. It seems like they're going for a kind of Lord of the Rings vibe. Lord of the Rings famously shoots in New Zealand, where there's just all sorts of like really cool wide open spaces that can really strike a certain tone, a certain vibe, and feel good for high fantasy. That's why they go there and film all of Lord of the Rings there. So it's crazy that they're filming Zelda there. They're probably going to build sets that they will have for the duration of the trilogy. So you're getting like a lot of the Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings, a lot of those vibes. I'm kind of feeling that. Okay. So young, unknown actors, they delayed the whole thing a year. It's a trilogy. They're going to shoot it in New Zealand. All of this stuff feels really good so far. Okay. And if you're a big Zelda fan, you know, there's probably all sorts of concern and questions about how they're going to adapt this. It feels like it's incredibly different from the way they approached Mario, which is appropriate. I mean, Mario is, you know, their sort of flagship character, and Mario works using a lot of game elements. Zelda, I think you'll see some of the game elements come in here, right? Because there's sort of like a wider conversation here about what's the next big thing. Comic book movies kind of feel like they're on the way out a little bit. Video game movies seem to be taking over. Video game shows, live action anime. I want to talk to you guys about live action Bleach in a little bit here too. Hollywood's trying to go after the next thing. And they're trying to capture the spirit of this thing. And it's nice that Hollywood is at least starting to recognize that they need the actual creators. Okay, so I've been talking about this, but like they bring Neil Druckmann in. Now, apparently he fucked it all up and they're going to take him out of The Last of Us anyway. But that was a hit show when it was a hit show. And I think getting Druckmann was a big part of that. You have Todd Howard come in and help Amazon make the Fallout show. The Fallout show blowing the fuck up. Going to do huge numbers next season. So it is obvious that bringing these actual video game creators into the fold is a big part of it. And they're having success. With all of that in mind, I think Zelda is very well positioned to be a very big hit. Potentially bigger than the Mario movie. And also something that I think like non-Nintendo fans could really get down with. Okay? It's high fantasy. It's shonen in a certain ways, you know, with the way that it's figured out. It's like an advanced version of a fairy tale. There's a lot of interesting lore, whether it's the Triforce pieces, the other versions of Ganon, the other versions of Link throughout time. Why does this story keep cycling? There's all sorts of fun fan things that the fans are going to want to see, like the Master Sword, like the Ocarina, like maybe the masks from Majora's Mask, the different temples, like the Fire Temple, the Water Temple, the Earth Temple. There are things that the Zelda fans are going to go nuts for. But I think almost all of those things can be adapted in live action in a really good way that other people would like. You know, the Mario movie made a shit ton of money, but the critics kind of hated it, right? I think Zelda has the ability to tap into both groups of people. Zelda has the ability to win some of the critics over. There's enough really interesting stuff there that could be done with certain sensibilities that feel good for the cinephiles, while also tapping into all the video game fans and all the people that just love that game, love that franchise, and love these characters. So I think this is huge, dude. I think this is great casting. By the way, Miyamoto himself dropped this casting, and Miyamoto was fucking thrilled about these picks here. So this has gone through the whole, Nintendo folks, their lenses, their filters. It's gone through all of that. Hollywood's satisfied as well. this could be something special, guys. Like, this could truly be something special. I mean, I know I tend to get, very excited for these things. And sometimes I'll, like, think of, like, the best possible version of it, right? And that can set my expectations off a bit here. But I think there's enough here to suggest how seriously they are taking this. The casting, the years of preparation before this, shooting in New Zealand, doing a trilogy. I think there's enough here to start to get really excited and to start to think that this could potentially be the next big thing. And I don't say that to all the projects, you know what I mean?